Good evening, everyone. That way, when I move, I don't have to be on the camera. Makes sense? I'm trying to keep you in too. I'm surprised yours didn't pop up. Notification
On my
on your
phone.
phone.
It goes to my email.
Oh, oh my God. Ooh, ooh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. We're going to get started here in a few moments, give folks a chance to jump on. Hopefully, everyone's doing well, had a good day, and also thriving instead of just surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, thriving, not just surviving. I like that. Mm-hmm.
I think we got a good topic to talk about tonight. Finding balance. It's in work. Purpose in life, and also rest.
Mm.
I know that's something
Just
that's talked
resting.
about a lot, um, but I think we should take a closer look at it and really get practical about it. So that's what we'll do tonight. Talking about finding balance, work,
Mm-hmm.
purpose, and rest.
Rest.
There's a balance that we have to strike.
Mm. Hey, cuz.
Yeah, let's give everyone a few moments to jump on. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Say hello in the chat.
Another moment,
Mm.
another minute or so. We'll give folks a chance to jump on. We'll get right into it.
Rest. I like that word, rest. Folks, say get you some good rest. We talked about that once before. Get that how many hours rest? Right hand itching.
Sleep.
Hmm. I can't believe I bet my plant 2 leaves. Because she is. The leaves that work are much stronger than that for whatever reason. All right, it's
Alexa, pause. All right. Once again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Another episode of Meaningful Conversations. Tonight, we're going to take a deep look at what it really means, what it looks like to find balance in this demanding world in which we live.
yeah.
Between us pursuing our career, all of those goals we have set before us for our career, serving our families, doing the things we need to do for our families, the things we want to do in our community, as well as, chasing our purpose. You're going to hear me use the word purpose a lot in a lot of our episodes because, purpose is what has driven me to this point. And, going through all of these different steps, all of these different things that we do, some of us quietly burn out. Some
Mm.
of us loudly flame out, but many of us quietly burn out. People don't even know we burnt out. We're on our last leg, if you will. We're running on fumes,
Yeah.
and we need some sort of intervention. So we're going to talk about that tonight. This conversation will uncover how to recognize when we're getting overwhelmed, set healthy boundaries, and pay homage, if you will, give honor to what it means to rest, and create a balanced life
Mm.
that allows us, you, me, to thrive in every role that we have in this life. Because
Yeah.
we have many roles, right? We have parenting roles, we have financial obligations roles to our family, we have uh, a role to play in our community to better our community, in our church, mosque, temple, whatever the case may be. We
Mm-hmm.
got all these different roles. So, whether you're building a business, as an entrepreneur, trying to lead your family in this difficult world in which we live, or trying to protect your mental wellness, your mental health. I believe this episode gives us some practical tools to help us stay grounded and help us stay whole,
Yeah.
be holistic. So,
Yeah.
so welcome back to another episode of Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten. Of course, my wife, Michelle, here at my side, my partner in life. I want to first, recognize my fraternity, the Men of Omega Psi Phi. We celebrated uh, 114 years of existence.
Wow.
You know, my beloved fraternity was founded November 17th, 1911, by four outstanding young Black men at Howard University. And we celebrated our Founders Day this week. And all last week, we had Achievement Week, just had a number of different events going on last week. And also, we had family here this week. Uh, and we really enjoyed that. Michelle's oldest brother, my brother-in-law Willie, and his wife Tracy celebrated 40 years of marriage. I had the honor of being able to officiate um, their wedding renewal, a vow renewal, here in our home, and we just had a good time. Michelle's youngest brother and his wife, Sean, were here, and their son, Sean Jr., his wife Sherelle, and other friends. Cheryl from New Orleans, Tracy's best friend, was here. Willie's army buddy, Jay Money, and his wife from Cincinnati were here. So we had a good time, fellowshipping with them and honoring, 40 years of marriage that they have experienced, which I told them is achievement. And we kind of talked briefly about what achievement looks like. So as I welcome you back to another episode of Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten, today, once again, we're going to talk about something we all struggle with on some level or another, whether we admit it or not, whether we know it or not. And that's balance, striking a healthy balance in life, balance between work and what our purpose in life is.
Yeah.
And they could be the same, one and the same. Balance between ambition and getting some rest, which is really important. I can attribute last week, not feeling well, being worn down, because I was working on a business that Michelle and I are currently developing, and I'd come in from, I don't even remember where I came in from, but I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning working on that business venture, and then was right back up at 5 and just kind of wore myself down and wasn't feeling too well. Once again, I didn't strike the proper balance between ambition and getting the proper rest, right? So we also need a balance between serving others and taking care of ourselves. Some people, they wear themselves out caring for others and not taking the time to recharge and care for themselves. So that's something we're going to talk about tonight as well. So if you've ever felt stretched, thin, as they say, if you ever felt overwhelmed, which many of us have felt that, probably many of us felt overwhelmed at some point today, are exhausted, while still trying to chase, those dreams. This conversation is for you. It's for me. So let's dive into what balance really looks like and how to build a life rhythm. That's another word you hear me use a lot, is rhythm. Rhythm is really, really important to me for a number of reasons. So, we need to find that rhythm that keeps us healthy, focused, and feeling fulfilled.
Okay.
So the burnout problem, according to a Gallup poll in 2024, just last year, 77% of professionals say they have experienced burnout. 77%. I want you to think about that a minute. 77% of professionals say they've experienced burnout on some level or another. 48% of parents report that they are overwhelmed most of the time. Not some of the
Wow.
time,
Most of the time.
not every now and then. No, 48% of parents report that they are overwhelmed most of the time.
Wow.
That's because, of course, the average parent is working. Um, they got to put food on the table. They got to keep the lights on. They got to pay the mortgage, the rent, car note, whatever the case may
Child
be,
care.
child
Woo.
care. They got to figure out a way
Yeah.
when the kids get off early from school, which happens a lot during the course of a school year, how to get them to wherever they need to get them to. Uh, it's just a lot
It's a lot.
that parents have
Yeah.
to deal with, right? And for those of us who have been parents, we understand that. So let's talk about the symptoms, because sometimes we're experiencing burnout, exhaustion, wearing ourselves too thin in a number of areas, and we don't even recognize, what's happening to us. We just say, okay, I'm just a little tired. I just need to recharge my batteries. But here are some of the symptoms of burnout: emotional exhaustion, reduced motivation. Sometimes we feel really motivated to get some stuff done. Then at other times, it's just like, man, I just can't find the inspiration. I
Yeah.
just can't find the motivation. It's probably because you're feeling or experiencing some level of burnout. Here's a good one: irritability.
Woo.
When we're irritable, a lot of times
Yes.
we're irritable because we are feeling burnt out. We burnt out at the job. So when we get home, just the slightest word from our spouse or our children, whoever, we go to snapping
Yep.
because we're experiencing burnout and we don't
Yeah.
even know it, because if we knew it, we would take the time to say, you know what, I shouldn't react this way. I'm really irritable right now because I'm burnt out. I really need
Yeah.
to recharge my batteries.
Yeah.
Another symptom is trouble focusing.
Hmm.
Can't focus, can't get focus, can't get right, like on the movie Life. Can't get
Can't
right.
get right.
And the last one we'll talk about in this particular discussion is when our sleep pattern has been disrupted, right? We go to sleep at a certain time, we get up at a certain time, and that's been disrupted. We're going to sleep later, or we're going to sleep earlier, we're getting up earlier, we're getting up later, we're getting up several times throughout the night. A lot of that can be attributed to us feeling burnt out.
Yeah. That tossing and
So,
turning, huh, babe?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, according to a study in 2023 by the American Psychological Association, people who set and maintain boundaries reduce stress by up to 51%. Once again, study in 2023 by the American Psychological Association. People who set and maintain boundaries reduce stress by up to 51%. Now, you may say, man, well, what do you mean by setting boundaries? Well, like I explained earlier last week, up till 3 o'clock in the morning, working on this project, I should have had some clear boundaries in place before I started, right? I should have said, you know what? I'm going to stop this at, let's just say 11 o'clock or midnight, whatever that is. I'm not going to be up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We got to set very clear boundaries to make sure we protect our rest, protect our mental health, our mental well-being, protect our emotional well-being, protect our physical, mental, all of those things, protect uh, the entire man, right? The entire woman.
And this is from a man that goes to bed, can be in the bed by what time, babe?
I like to be in bed by 8:30. I like to be in bed by 8:30.
And how did
Sometimes,
you feel when you woke up the next, couple of hours? How did it feel?
when you say how does it feel, it just depends. Depends on what I got up for.
So you went to bed around 3-ish.
Oh, you're talking about when I went to
That
bed at
particular
3?
time,
Okay, I
yeah.
thought you meant when I
Yeah.
go to bed at 8:30.
Oh, no, no.
No, when I got up, I mean, it's just automatic for me to get up. I don't.
Yeah.
Michelle can tell you, I don't use an alarm clock or anything like that. I've been getting up at the same time for 40 years or probably more. It's just my natural instinct to get up at around 5 o'clock. So I got up at 5. I really felt exhausted. I really felt tired. It was like, hey, I got to get going. I got to get the day going, right? And that's because I didn't set really
Those
good
boundaries.
boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
So workers with clear boundaries, according to the American Psychological Association, this study in 2023, workers with clear boundaries, people in the workforce with clear boundaries, are 2 times more likely to be satisfied in their careers.
Hmm.
So let's talk about that for a moment. At work, we some of us are trying to climb that corporate ladder. We're trying to show people that we are committed, that we are serious, we're sincere about our career.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when they come to you with a lot of extra work, but not a lot of extra compensation, if you will, or recognition or award or whatever it is that you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
at that job, in that role, um, the people who do that very, very consistently are not very satisfied in their role. But the ones who set boundaries, who say, you know what, I see that we got this extra work that we're going to do. I tell you what I'll do. I can work these extra hours
Mm-hmm.
this week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we're going to go back to regular hours. Maybe we can pick it up the following week until we get caught up. But, I'm not going to set a career where I'm working around the clock 24/7. And, of course, 24/7 is an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
But people who do that are more likely to be very, very successful and happy
Yeah.
in their careers. Now, that's
Yeah.
not me. That's a study by the American Psychological Association that workers with clear boundaries are 2 times more satisfied in their careers than those who do not set boundaries.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, a number of us fall into that category where we don't set boundaries. We don't know how to set boundaries. We don't really understand our rights in the workplace, if you
Mm.
will. And we can be bamboozled, hoodwinked, whatever you want to call it,
Fearing for your position, your
fearing that you're going to get
job. You
fired,
say,
all of
I
those
can't
things.
do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a way to do that, professionally,
Mm-hmm.
with wisdom, and not running into any of those severe issues that we fear, right?
Yeah.
So, what do boundaries look like in real life? We just talked about work hours,
Mm-hmm.
communication limits. There has to be a certain limit to communication. For instance, going back to work, you worked 8, 9, 10, 12 hours. You get in the car, you're still getting
Mm.
calls, text messages, emails. Once you get home, you check in emails. You got to set communication limits. Okay. Once I leave the office, that's it. I'm not looking at emails, all of this stuff until the next day. Now, of course, this is not a blanket. Some of us really have to
Mm-hmm.
check emails and check communications because of the nature of our work, right? Um, there was when the pandemic hit, we had essential workers, right? And we had those who were not essential workers.
Hmm.
So essential workers, of course, those who were in the medical profession, of course, you were working long hours, unusually long hours, because of the nature of the pandemic and the stress that it brought to the medical field. And of course, others who work in essential roles, right? And I can remember us having some major discussions about, who was an essential worker and who was not an essential worker.
I didn't realize I was an essential worker until they told me you are considered an essential worker.
We're talking about housing, right?
Yep.
Housing people and making sure, housing is taken care of, right? Making sure the AC is working, the refrigerator working, the oven, all of those sorts of things, making sure.
Bills getting paid,
Yeah.
all that stuff
Hmm.
continue, budgets, all
Hmm.
everything, inspections, none of that stuff stops. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and we got to learn how to say no,
Mm.
right? We got to learn how to say no. And I know that's
In a
difficult.
professional way.
I know that's difficult because, we love what we do in a lot of cases. We love serving people. But if we're serving too much, we're going to stress ourselves too thin. We're going to burn out. We're going to start to have, medical issues, mental health issues, all of those things. And if that happens, we're really of no good to anyone, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So Purpose without boundaries becomes pressure.
Mm.
So purpose without
Purpose without
boundaries becomes
boundaries
pressure.
becomes pressure.
So you got to set
Wow.
boundaries even in your purpose, right? I can remember when I was pastoring, I had to learn from my pastor what that meant. And a lot of times what happened was I would I would just take some days away. I'd take my family, we go somewhere, go drive down to Destin, Fort Walton Beach area, or go up to North Carolina, visit my uncle, go to Atlanta, visit my little brother Brandon, and his family up there, just do something, just get away. And sometimes I had
Mm.
to get away by myself, just get away and just be able to recharge, just pray and you know, just recharge myself, recharge my batteries.
Yeah.
And we all have to do that. You got to figure out what that is for you. You got to figure out what works for you, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to get away. You have to take your mind off of it to be able to allow yourself, your mind to rest, your body to rest, your spirit to rest, all of those things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we have to um, say no. You know, we have to say no. Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't like the way that feels when we say no, but we have to start thinking about ourselves because the reason we feel that way is because we feel that we're letting other people down, right? If we
Mm.
say no,
Mm.
but we gotta figure out a way to balance that and protect ourselves. That's what we're talking about tonight. Balance in life. In work, balance in our purpose, balance in getting rest.
And for as for caretakers as well,
Hmm.
you have to be able to make sure that you're okay in order to care for the person. If you're not well, then you won't be any good for the person that you are, supposed to be taking care of. So
Yeah, you won't be as effective, right?
as effective, and that means taking
Hmm.
some time. If you can get someone else to sit in with them at some point, it could be an hour, 2 hours. Maybe you can go run to the mall, or just if you live in the same place with the person that you're caring from, just go to another room maybe, or something like that, or whatever you feel that would work for you to kind of like, um what is it called, not de-stress, another word that I'm trying to use,
Decompress.
decompress. Yes,
Hmm.
I was about to say decompose.
Yeah.
Not
Oh.
decompose, decompress. Yeah. So, and it's a good thing. Maybe a drive,
Hmm.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just figuring out what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to figure out how to create, non-negotiables too
Mm,
for wellness. Some things have to be non-negotiable.
mm.
We allow too many things to be negotiable in life, and that brings on a lot of stress. So you have to figure out what are your non-negotiables.
Give me an example of like what you mean.
The non-negotiable can be okay. The job has some extra work that's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and they want you to come in on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a non-negotiable because you go to church, you go to a place of worship on Sunday. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, I go to worship the Lord my God on Sunday, so that's a non-negotiable for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's a way to even negotiate that. Okay, I go to church 10 to 12. I go to after church, I go have dinner with my family, my wife, my husband, whatever the case may be. Maybe I can come in at 3 and work a couple hours, 3 to 5. But you have to have some non-negotiables. Some things are just we can't negotiate that.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
Did
like
that help? Was that a good
yeah,
example?
yeah. Like on the Sundays, like you said. So the non-negotiable would be, no, I cannot work on Sundays.
That's just an example.
That's just like an example.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
for some, people that have younger kids, they
Hmm.
can't do certain things during the week or
Hmm.
during school time or
Hmm.
however. That's a non-negotiable.
Hmm.
So I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's non-negotiable. I have dinner with my family, with my
Mm-hmm.
husband, my wife, and kids, at 7 o'clock every night. So I'm not going to be here,
Yeah.
or whatever nights.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just examples, but
Yeah.
you have to determine what the non-negotiables are for you, right?
Mm-hmm. And is that a bad thing?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. So I see here, Dr. K, sometimes you have to set non-negotiables within your personal life as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got to set non-negotiables in every aspect of life, whether that's work, play, family, whatever the case may be. There has to be some non-negotiables, and you know what those are, or you need to figure out what those non-negotiables are, right?
Yeah. God said you sent your work.
So
Okay, good.
so now let's talk about the purpose of rest and how we connect all of that. You know, the purpose of rest, how we connect it to balance in life. You know, a study by the Harvard Business Review last year found that rest improves creativity. It improves innovation. You know, sometimes we think about, man, I wish I was just a little bit more creative. I wish I could come up with some new, unique ideas to bring to, the table at work or to my business, my entrepreneurial venture. And from this study, rest improves our ability to be creative. It improves our ability to be innovative. Rest helps us with clear decision making. You know, if you're not resting properly, you're not going to make very good, sound decisions, right?
Yes.
So we got to get that rest in so we can be more creative, so we can make more decisions or better decisions, right?
Yeah.
Now, I want to, make something very clear. Sleeping and rest is not necessarily the same thing, because, rest is okay. What I tend to do throughout the day, if I'm working remotely, I'm gonna step away from my computer for a little bit. I'm gonna go outside, talk to the plants, cut some of the roses, trim them up, put them in a vase, just take a walk around the yard or around the block or around the lake or whatever it is, just for a few moments, just to take my mind off of what's going on, rest my mind, get a chance to just kind of meditate and, talk with the Lord, if you will. So those are some of the things that I do to rest, right? Um, like I said, my pastor taught me many, many years ago. One of the things he would do is he would go to the movies once a week, just to get away, from the church, from church work, and just go in there and just, watch a movie, get some popcorn, get an icy or whatever, and just relax your mind and allow your mind not to be focused on some of those things that bring about stress, right? Bring about burnout, if you will.
Yeah.
So, and also rest, check this out. According to this Harvard Business Review, it improves emotional regulation. Emotional regulation. So your emotions are not, when you rested, yeah, your emotions are not up and down. You're not high one moment, low the next moment. No, you stay relatively consistent, when you're well rested, because you operate on a certain wavelength when you're rested. And when you're not rested, you're on this irregular, roller coaster, if you will.
Yeah.
So here's a suggestion by this Harvard Business Review. Just one day of rest per week can reduce stress by 30 to 40%. Okay.
One day.
One day. Can somebody say, man, didn't God give him one day of rest? God said, y'all got to rest one day. You got to rest, right? Even God rested after creation.
Yeah.
He rested. So according to this study by the Harvard Business Review, just one day of rest per week can reduce stress by 30 to 40%. Now, I know I'm guilty of this because I'm running around looking for stuff to do when I need to be resting, right? You'll even tell me from time to time, hey, why don't you just wait? You can do that another day. You don't have to do that today. But because sometimes the way I'm wired is like, nope. As long as you got daylight, work. Let's just get it done, get it out the way. But no, we need to take one day and get some rest. Now that doesn't mean you don't do anything, but
Wow.
you got to use that day to focus on getting some rest.
I like the day of 1 day of not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah, you're pretty good at that sometimes. No, sometimes you're pretty good at that. Like on a Saturday, you'll just watch Good Times, the same episode that you watched the week before, the
Yep.
same 10 episodes, or what's happening now, or Fred
That's my
Sanford,
non-negotiable.
or whatever, them old sitcoms, and
Yeah.
you'll just watch that and fall asleep and wake up, watch it, continue to be on watching you, and we got to do that. Now that's what works for
Yep.
you. Something else may work for someone else.
Hmm.
So, according to this study by the University of Michigan a couple years ago, families who rest together show higher happiness and communication scores.
Mm.
Families that rest together show higher happiness and communication scores. So, what that means is from time to time, I should stay in the bed and watch these reruns of Good Times with you,
Yep.
right?
And what should I do?
And something similar to that, right?
So I should go to the movies and not fall asleep with you.
Yeah, we can't do that because,
Mm.
yeah, she goes to the movies with me. I mean, within moments of the movie coming on, she sleep. And, my lovely wife snores, and that's not good for the other people trying to enjoy the movie. That's not
They messed up when they made reclining chairs.
good.
They messed me up
And
with
then
that.
these theaters now, they serve food and drinks and bring it right to your chair and all that kind of stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, rest is not laziness.
Mm.
Rest is not laziness. What I've learned is rest is fuel. You're
Mm.
actually filling your tank when you rest. It's not laziness. Of course, a lot of us were brought up in homes and situations where you weren't allowed to lay down and do all of those
Mm-hmm.
sort of things. I remember my
Yep.
grandmother. My
Yep.
grandmother would wake us up early Saturday morning when the average kid, should I say, was watching cartoons. Nah, my grandmother had us get up
You sure they weren't related?
and get in that yard and pull them weeds out of her flower beds and trim them hedges and trim the trees back, cutting grass and putting fertilizer down.
We were in the inside of the house cleaning it,
Yeah,
wiping the walls,
yeah.
the baseboards,
Same thing inside, same thing. But for
toilet,
me, it started on the
outside.
outside. Yep. So remember,
Mm.
rest is not laziness, it's fuel.
Rest
Uh,
is not lazy.
it's not laziness, it's fuel. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Mm.
You can't pour anything out of an empty cup, right?
Yeah. And I encourage you to get more rest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like you get enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like you get enough, but
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah. We come into that.
Yeah.
So your purpose suffers. Whatever your purpose in life is, it will suffer when your mind and your body is drained.
Mm.
Your purpose is going to suffer when your mind and your body is drained. You're just not as sharp. You're not as quick-witted. You're not as creative, right? Your emotional regulation is not steady
Mm-hmm.
and stable, and you're not making really good sound decisions,
decisions.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're drained. You're
Yeah.
at that place of burnout.
Yeah.
And you can jump in at any
Yeah.
time and share your thoughts, some of the things that you've experienced, that you've been through in the chat with us. We'll read and share those because this is a conversation. And while I'm thinking about it, make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten. Make sure you comment on the episodes. If you like it, please share it with your sphere of influence, if you will, with your friends, your family, and help us continue to grow the channel and grow our followership. And that would be, much appreciated.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to talk about with this topic is, family wellness. family wellness as a part of your personal success. All of us, we can go out and achieve
Mm-hmm.
success, but we want to think about what it looks like for our families to be well and whole and well-rounded, if you will. What does that look like? So according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, and I have a dear friend of mine, Dr. Hank LeBoyd, who's a pediatrician, in the American Academy of Pediatrics, they shared that children mirror their parents' stress patterns.
Mm.
Whatever their parents are stressing about, children will stress about that. Now, think about that. All of the pressure and stress that you and I have on ourselves as parents, we don't want to transfer that to our children.
No.
And the best way not to transfer that to our children is to remove it from us.
All right.
Right? By
All
getting the proper balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So family routines, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, family routines lead to better academic, emotional, and social outcomes. Routines. We've talked about this in past episodes. What does a routine look like, right? Making sure that we eat meals together, that we get out and exercise as a family together. We unplug from, social media, unplug from the internet, unplug from television, and sit down and have conversations with each other, right? And even if we're not having conversations, let's just rest together. Let's unwind together. So the American Academy of Pediatrics says family routines lead to better academic, emotional, and social outcomes for our children.
Yeah.
Balanced parents create balanced households.
Balanced parents.
Balanced parents create balanced households. So your success is not just what you accomplish. It's not just what you accomplish. It's how your family feels around you. Think about that for a moment. We're so focused on career, success, but do we think about how families feel when they're around us? So I see Dr. LeBoy. Think about all the athletes like Dion and Ray Lewis who say that they did it because of what they saw their mothers suffer through. Yes, 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 absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to model balance for our children. We have to model that. I can remember, I'd be at work and have a stressful day. I get home and, the kids, they'll be doing homework or something like that. And I'll say, come on, guys, get your bikes. Let's go. When we were living in Algiers, I said, let's go ride up on the levee. We go ride up on the levee. There's a little park not too far from where we live. We'd stop there. They'd play on the park. Or if they had their scooters, we ride the scooters over there. And, just trying to model what it looks like to unplug. I'm unplugging from work, they're unplugging from homework. Let's go ride. We'll feel rejuvenated, stop, get some ice cream on the way back, snowball. If you're from New Orleans, you know what a snowball is. And, get home and everybody get back to doing what they needed to do, right? Getting prepared for bed and getting prepared for the next day. So we have to model what balance looks like to our children, what it looks like to our children. Encouraging family wellness. We talked about this too on several occasions, making sure we have meals together. We try to, we're pretty busy, but we try to do that.
Yeah.
Where we'll sit down and sit at the table.
And turn on Tubi.
Yep. And we'll sit at the table.
Watch a Tubi movie while we're eating.
We'll sit down and turn on Tubi and watch a little Tubi movie while we're eating or whatever. We'll get a chance to talk, catch up on what's going on for the day.
I told Vonna at work, she was pretending like she fell at work. I said, girl, that was a Tubi movie fall.
Okay, it was a fake fall?
What? It was so fake. It was the fakest fall. I said, that's a Tubi movie fall.
Is Vonna watching this?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we have to encourage family wellness. That's having meals together, unplug time together, turn the phone off, right?
Tablet.
Turn the tablet off, all of that stuff. Turn it off, unplug. find some shared activities, activities that we can share together, like go and play tennis, top golf,
Oh, I love to go to Top Golf.
bowling, or whatever that is.
Bowling too.
Some activities, get some shared activities.
But the movies,
Yeah, that don't work for you.
daytime.
Yeah, that doesn't work either.
I do good in daytime. As long as I know it's daytime outside, I think I might doze off. If it's a good movie, I won't now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
If it's whack,
then maybe so.
okay.
So the other thing I encourage you when we're talking about family wellness is, church and community involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we're doing stuff, at our place of worship. You may be Muslim, you're at the mosque. You may be Jewish, you're at the synagogue. You may be something else or nothing at all. But being involved in community, being involved in our places of worship really helps to bring balance to our lives.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions
Yeah.
before we close out, or before Michelle jumps in and shares her thoughts with us on this episode. Where do you feel the biggest imbalance in your life right now is? Is it your work? Is it your purpose? Or is it rest? What do you feel, your biggest imbalance in your life is right now? You're working too much, or maybe you're not working enough. Maybe you're too focused on, your purpose. You're not focused enough on your purpose, or maybe you're resting too much and you're not getting enough rest. Where do you feel that imbalance is?
Could it be a combination of all of those?
It very well
bits
could
and
be.
Pieces from all of them.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 2, and you can jump in and comment on this so we can share that with everyone. What boundaries do you struggle to set or to keep? What boundaries have you set and you just struggle with keeping those boundaries in place? You struggle with making sure you don't negotiate those boundaries. Think about that for a moment. Let me see. When was the last time you rested without feeling guilty? I raised my hand. That's one of the things I had to deal with. When I rested, for whatever reason, sometimes I just feel guilty about resting.
I don't.
So when was the last time you rested without feeling guilty?
Why would you feel guilty?
Because you feel like you should be doing something. I should be doing this, that, or the other.
I heard that.
But you say that's not your problem. Huh? Number 4, how is your personal schedule influencing the wellness of your family? And you and I have this conversation from time to time where you'll ask, when you were doing this, or when you was at this stage of your life, how were you able to spend time, with your family? So is your personal schedule, how does it influence the wellness of your family?
Because sometimes your personal schedule, when I say personal, I think about work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes people work too much and they have absolutely no time.
Mm-hmm.
When they get home from work, they're exhausted. And a lot of times when they get home from work, they're preparing for the next work day. Mm-hmm. And then before you know it, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night.
But some people can play too much. Some people can play too much too, that impacts the wellness of their family. For instance, some people who love golf, they can be out golfing every Saturday when they should be using some of that time to spend with, the husband, wife, kids, doing community work, whatever. So, it can be an imbalance as well in the things that you enjoy doing in life, hobbies or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. But you have to be willing to hear the other person and be willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
Don't make that a non-negotiable. This is what I like to do, and this is my thing, and that's not negotiating. It's not cool, especially when you have a family, right?
Well, I mean, the question is, how is your personal schedule influencing the wellness of your family? And if you are out golfing all the time, that is definitely having a negative impact on your family because you're not spending time with them.
Yeah.
Just as an example, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to get on golfers, okay? The last question, what is one small change you can make this week to restore balance?
Hmm.
Think about one small change uh, that you can make.
Hmm.
One small change. Remember, if there's anything you learn from me, I believe in building blocks. I don't like when we try to swing for the fences. We're not professional Major League Baseball players. We don't need to be swinging for the fences. And that's the Major League game now. Either you hit a home run or you strike out. There's no in between. There's no, getting on base, high base percentages, you know. So we got to come to a place where we restore that balance. And what's one small thing? You can jump in the chat and share that if you'd like. What's one small thing that you think you can do this week to help restore the balance in your life?
Hmm. Restoring balance.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
tonight's episode is all about balance. It's
And
all about
rest.
balance. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. All right. With that being said, Michelle,
I will be brief.
jump in and do what you do.
That was great, babe. As Devin mentioned in the beginning, we got a chance to celebrate my oldest brother and my sister in love, Tracy, their 40th wedding anniversary, man. And it was just awesome. I just felt, special. I know we both did that they wanted to actually come here, you know, to celebrate, for us to celebrate with them as well. So
Yes.
that was great. I got to meet one of my brother's military friends, one of the guys who I just haven't met yet, and his wife. That was nice. And, and the other guests that were here as well, my sister in law's best friend. And, I got to spend some time with my nephew, and he's doing great. Man, you can't tell me what God can't do. I just, oh my God, it was just awesome, you know. But 40 years, that's a huge accomplishment, you know. And it's funny because the age that they are, 40 years looks like it's something that we could be right now, right? 40, well, yeah, 40, 20. No, not quite. Not quite because we're in our 50s, right? So we would have had to have been together a little bit younger than them, right?
It's about the same.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. So what I'm
About
trying
the
to say
same.
is, marriage. You think of 40 years of marriage, you think of older people in their 70s, and but that's something that they've been together since.
Yeah, they got married young, right out of high
Shoot.
school, really. Right out of high school.
Not out of high school. No, they didn't. They've been together on and off. Middle school, they played around whatever in Worley, and high school, and then but they got married. I was what, 17? So yeah, early 20s.
Yeah, right out of
Yeah,
high school.
yeah, early 20s, as I did with my first marriage. And how old were you?
Yeah, when I got married the first time, yeah, I
Yeah,
was 23.
yeah. We were
23.
pretty much all in our 20s. So, as I said, I was just elated to have the opportunity to spend that time with them, and the vow renewal. That was just, I didn't know anything about it until my husband was dressed, and I'm like, okay, so they're doing a vow renewal. And they chose to come and spend time with us, which was truly an honor. A lot of people don't make it for 40 years, especially at that age. Like David said, with the vow renewal, it took patience, and with some of the other things you were saying when you were doing the vow renewal.
We talked about, when you make it that long, there's there's a lot of obstacles you have to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
You have to persevere. You have to, be peace loving, if you will, to some
Mm-hmm.
degree. Um, so we just talked about some of those aspects, some of the biblical aspects
Yeah.
of being together. So I think it
Yeah.
was a pretty good ceremony.
And it's just amazing. Oh, Kim was there as well. She came to visit. It was great seeing Kim.
Yes.
Um, it's just amazing. So when they started out in their early 20s, and then you become more mature, and then you're in your 30s, and then you reach your 40s and you're still married. You reach your 50s, you know, you change. You don't stay the same as a 20-year-old. So they have experienced their changes within themselves, something that they probably had to
Yeah.
adjust to,
We talked
you
about
know.
becoming one. You
Yeah,
know, the
yeah,
scripture says the two become one. Becoming one, takes time. It
yeah,
happens over a period of time. Of course, the other
yeah.
aspect of it, the scripture was talking about, sexual intercourse. When you have intercourse, you become one.
Mm,
But also, in the tradition and culture, the Hebrew tradition and culture is that, you become who you are supposed to be over a period of
mm,
time. And that's changes, right? And you went through a
yeah.
lot of changes, 40 years of marriage. So,
40 years, yeah.
yeah.
And my mom, if my stepfather still would have been married, he hate the word step, they would have been married 41 years. I think mama told me they got married a year before Will and Tracy.
Hmm.
So, and then my dad and my stepmom, I think they got married a year after. So I think they're celebrating 40 years or have
Hmm.
celebrated 40 years. I don't know their anniversary. No, their
Hmm.
anniversary is new. Oh my gosh, is it Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? One of them the same anniversary as my mom. So
Hmm.
yeah, so that's a lot. That's a lot of um, love, longevity. You know, children have been birthed and grandchildren, and no great grandkids yet, but
Hmm.
and that was something to celebrate.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
that was definitely something to celebrate, and I was happy that they chose to come to be with us
Yes.
because they could have gone any other place,
Yeah.
but they chose to spend it with us,
Yeah.
and we're grateful for that. You know,
Yeah.
definitely grateful for that. Having family, man, you can't beat them, right?
Yeah. They had me break out the,
Yeah.
had me break out one of my pastor robes,
He was looking like a Catholic priest.
So yeah, that was really enjoyable. We
It
had a good
really,
time.
really was.
We
It
had a good
really
time.
was. Yeah. And under different circumstances, it probably would have been more people.
Hmm.
But with the airlines and
Hmm.
my brother's best
Government
friend, he was
shutdown.
supposed to
Yeah.
come. The government
Mhm.
shut down. His flight was canceled. Some of my other cousins were supposed to come work. That balance you talked
Hmm.
about, balance. Because it's like, look, I've been on this job for. I didn't work this whole year, right? I don't take much of a vacation. When I put my days in, I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, I need to see, let me talk. I work too hard for that, right? But some people they still have to, you know, depend on your work setting. It's like, hey, I can't go because this person has seniority over me and they put the time in before me and all that. So I'm just thankful that I don't have to deal with anything like that.
Hmm.
But back to the 40 years, it's like, man, that's a huge accomplishment. And I pray that God continues to bless their union. It might 50 years right around the corner, right?
Yep.
You know,
Definitely.
bless them to see 50, 60.
Definitely.
And we ate and we laughed and shared with each other. And it was so funny. Everybody was getting up, knees popping and back hurting, and sister-in-law catching a cramp. And it was just, I was like, oh my God, we are truly the old people now. We are the old people. We eat and get full, and my brother's famous word was, well, it's time to go lay it down. And we got our rest.
Yeah, I remember when we were younger, we used to tease the older dudes, you know, in the neighborhood or whatever. Now we the old
We the
dudes.
old dudes.
Yeah.
back popping. Like, ooh, what was that? The man, ankles making all kind of noise and bones popping, and man, it is amazing. But like I told my mom, I said, we the old people now, mama. We ate and we got tired, and it was like, and my brother, he was sitting in the chair with the remote. He was happy.
Yeah.
Give him the remote, he get in that chair, and that's a wrap, flipping the channels.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was great, honest. Oh, and Michael, my baby, my second oldest brother, he wasn't able to come. So it's a lot of people that weren't able to come, but you know, the ceremony was awesome. You know, we loved on them, and you know, we wish them many more years of matrimony. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and family to me is everything, especially with the holidays approaching. Family means everything.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
on your family. Love on your siblings, your kids, your grandkids, your parents, grandparents, cousins, second, third, whatever, best friends. Just share love with one another. It's so important.
Yeah.
So
Get that
important.
balance, right? So you
Yeah.
can spend time with family. Get
Yeah.
that balance.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this powerful conversation I believe we had tonight on balance.
Balance. Woo.
Remember, your purpose matters. Your purpose really matters.
Yeah.
The reason why you're here really matters. But your wellness matters even more.
Yeah.
Your wellness matters even more. You can't impact your family, your community, or the world if you're running on empty. If you're burning out, if you're running on fumes, if you're stressed out. So start small. I always recommend you start small. Take those small incremental steps. Set one boundary. Some of us don't have any boundaries. I challenge you this week to set one boundary this week. Choose one day to rest. Make sure you rest. God said rest on that seventh day. And invite your family into healthier rhythms. Get into some rhythms, and I've given several suggestions on what those rhythms could be. An example could be, 2 days this week, we're going to juice. So once a week, twice a week, we're going to start juicing. So just get into some healthier rhythms in your family. And if this episode has blessed you, please share it. Please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel, Meaningful Conversations with Dr. Devin Oten. We're working on getting ready for Michelle to launch her podcast and some of the things that she wants to do. So, just if this has been a blessing to you, an encouragement to you, share it with someone. Please subscribe to the channel, share it, like, comment on it.
All that. Press all the buttons.
Yes, and we're looking forward to being with you next week. Come back. Usually after the episode, I'll go up and post what we'll be talking about next week. And I'm still working on getting everything set up to bring our guest on. I know Dr. LeBoyd, we're going to get together. He's going to come on. We're going to talk about some health things that we can do to improve in our community. So I'm looking forward to those things. And, if someone needs to be encouraged today, share this information with them. Share the channel with them. Say, hey, Dr. Oten, he's on there. He and his wife, man, they're doing some good things, trying to, build our community, help our community.
Can you share the call that you got from Tara? Share that briefly.
Oh, yes.
Share that briefly.
Tara, our daughter down in Houston, Texas, she called me a couple of days ago. We were driving, taking the family who was here out to Napa. And she called and she said, I just wanted to let you know that as I'm cleaning up right now, I'm listening to the last episode, about consistency and discipline. That was last week. We talked about discipline and consistency. And she was saying how that was encouraging her to do some things. She had just been thinking about some of the things that we were talking about on there. She was like, did you and I have a conversation about it? Because it felt like, we had talked about this stuff. So she was just saying how, it just really encouraged her and blessed her. to start thinking about some of the things that, she wants to do for her and her family.
Yeah.
Her 2 young boys, baby boys. So, that was real encouraging.
Yes.
Did that sum it up, or was there something you wanted to add to that?
No. And when we get, calls like this, it's great to share,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it means we're actually,
making some sort of impact, right? Encouraging people, helping people. And that's what this is really about.
This is what it's all about.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what it's about. We love you, Tata.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share, go and make comments on this particular episode. And listen, we'll see you next week, okay? Good night, everybody.
Michael said, I mean, take a picture.